Hey, it's Edna. How are you today? This is Christmas Eve. Yeah, Christmas Eve, because yesterday was Christmas Eve Eve. But today's Christmas Eve, and I wanted to stop by because I had an appointment today. Um, I had about 2 or 3 weeks ago, went out to lunch with someone and had a glass of wine. And I usually always ask questions about what type of wine it is, not what type, but, can I see the bottle? Because I'm really becoming sensitive to sulfates, right? Sulfates. And so what happens with me is I get, very congested mucus forms. It's like sugar on steroids for me. And it's like sugar invades my body and it, I get tight joints. I get, sinuses filled with mucus. Sometimes even my eyes are with mucus. So that day I didn't think about it, right? I didn't even think about it. I don't know why I didn't. Because we were talking business. And then by the time I figured it out, I was like, oh my goodness. And I knew I was gonna be in trouble. Well, after that, I went through the whole myriad, the nose running, the coughing, and all of that stuff. I went through every bit of that. And I finally, in the third week, which is when I called the doctor and I said, something's up because I'm not breathing well, right? So I called them. So I went in today to visit the doctor. It was a good visit because I'm gonna tell you guys, and I think you guys know this if you follow me. I advocate for myself very well. And if I don't like a doctor that is really listening to what I'm talking about and listening to me who is in this body and not you, I will immediately say I don't want you as my doctor. So I think I've gone through three doctors already with the same, mentality about me and my health. Um, I'm currently not on any medications, just supplements. So at any rate, the doctor came and saw me, did all the breathing tests and all the other tests, and I was negative for COVID and all those other, you know, things. And so what she did find out was that, oh, I had, probably upper respiratory and they had to send away for some medication. But in the interim, I had told them what happened, how this started, and I pretty much know my body. Okay, so she kind of, agreed to that. She goes, well, back in the past, you had asthma in the past. I said, yeah, I did about 20 years ago. But they found out what the problem was is that I lived in a house that the boiler was right under my bedroom and the fumes was bothering me and I was getting sick and it was kind of invading my body. So they kind of figured that out, had to move and so forth. But that was 25 years ago, maybe even more. Um, and so she says, well, since you are have, asthma, we'd love to give you, this is her words, we'd love to give you, or we'd like you, no, she said, no, we'd like you to have a nebulizer. And I said, that stuff makes me, you know, very jittery. She goes, yeah, no, it can do that. I said, well, I'm not really asthmatic. You just said that my sinuses were dripping into my chest. My chest sounds good, and all this other stuff. So I said, oh, so what would you give him this machine for? So she's like, well, you had it in the past. I said, you're not listening to what I said. It was more like, from the atmosphere, I was really getting sick. So it wasn't something that is resides in my body at all times. Because if you notice, 20 or 30 years later, I'm not asthmatic. So I said, so at any rate, I said this to her, and she was like, So here's the proverbial question they ask me every time I go to the doctors, or it's a different intern. In the HMOs they have different doctors that kind of cover, but then have this overarching doctor that kind of oversees all of them. And it's like, oh, you're not on any medication? It's like, no, just supplements. Wow. So when the minute she said that, then I was like, oh, I see. You want to give me medication. So I was floored by that because I'm always wondering, like, what you ought to be happy that somebody's here that's not sickly, that exercises 3 or more times a week, that is on a not a diet, but on a lifestyle to eat to live. And that's where I am right now. And I wanted to share that with you. All of us who are in our 50s, some of us who are in our 40s, in our 50s and 60s, we need not to eat to live to eat, but we need to eat to live, because we have to turn that around. Because America, and I know this for sure because I lived in China for a year. Their food, and we all have traveled to different places like Italy. They don't have the same issues and problems we have with food. We do. So we have to learn to be so very selective in what we eat, what we drink, how we whatever, how we exercise. We have to be so in tune and aware with our bodies, because commercialism doesn't have any you know favorites. And I was watching, and I don't have regular TV. I have the apps, the apps that's on internet. And Chuck Norris always comes on. And I know you guys, if you guys have heard of this commercial, please go in the chat box and say, yeah, I've heard it. But Chuck Norris and his wife have created this drink. And believe it or not, most of the supplements I have are exactly what they have in this drink that you drink once a day. And I thought it was super cool. I was like, oh wow. So I am on the right path, to kind of like, help myself and eat well, eat well and eat to live. Because eating at McDonald's is not fashionable for us over a certain age. 40s, 50s, 60s, it's not fashionable. It's not wise. It's not healthy. Um, Eating like, yes, we lived on ham and chitlins. I didn't, because I didn't like it, chitlins. But you know what I'm saying. Cultural foods. We lived on those, but those are different times, and those didn't have fillers like it has now. So I'm saying this to you is it's so important. Now, getting back to my is situation, right? So I had drank that wine, and I knew right away, like within 20 minutes, that it was not good for me. And it's made me suffer for 4 weeks. This is my fourth week suffering with congestion, and it dripping down into my chest and giving me respiratory problems. You have to be aware of what, you know, got to be aware of yourself, your body, everything. And I really am. I'm so in tune to my body that if I am have diarrhea, I immediately go through my food list. I completely go through it. What's different that I ate today that I haven't eaten in years, or haven't eaten down through the weeks? What's different? What did I eat? And I know exactly what did it, and then I take it out. Then I don't do that anymore. So I was telling my friend Denise today, I was telling her, I said, man, I'm learning how to eat to live, because some things I just can't be having anymore. And it's important to recognize that, because that's part of the temple, keeping that temple right, keeping your temple. We are the keepers of our own temple. And if we don't keep our temples, and if we don't visit the doctors on a regular basis, when you have those nagging feelings, don't just override them. When you're feeling off and you just can't put your finger on it, just don't override it. Go and see a physician, go to see a doctor, and advocate for yourself. You know, I will tell you, going to the doctors for myself is, I prepare for it. Okay, what am I going? What's the list that I'm going to go through that I have some complaints about, and I'm concerned for myself? I'm going to write those things down, so when I go to the doctors, it's like a grocery list for me. And I don't go all the time. It's when I go, I'm going to make sure that if I have the attention of the doctor, they're going to be attentive to all the things that really I need to address. So it's having those, when you have symptoms, when you have issues, asking the right questions. You know, don't forget to prepare a list and be ready to understand more about who you are, what your body is doing. Um, Honesty matters. The second thing is honesty matters. I'm very clear with them what I did to make this happen. So I'm clear, I'm honest with myself. If I'm doing something to this temple, I'm honest with them and say, this is what I did, and this is what I think that is bringing this on. So I'm honest with them. Be upfront with your first. Be upfront with yourself, then be upfront with your doctor. Even though it's embarrassing sometimes, be thorough, because if you don't know what's going on in your body, there's doctors who are put here so that they can help you. Every detail matters. See, if I wouldn't have told my doctor today that I know what brought it on and I'm very allergic to sulfites, which I'm not touching wine anymore, is done with it. And I know what makes me like that. So I won't mess with it anymore. If I wasn't honest with them, they would have sworn I had every disease whatsoever. First, they thought, oh, COVID, blah, 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 but they have to go down that list anyway. So they even went to as far as giving me a PVC or a P something test. It's the same swab, but you have to send it out. They even did that, because they thought I was like contagious. But if I wouldn't have told them, they would have thought immediately they would have did something more. So being honest. The third thing is take notes. I jotted down key points, and if I didn't understand something, I asked. If they suggested this medication for coughs, I said, "What is that?" And so I looked it up on my phone, and then I asked questions. Okay, so how long do I take this, and what does it do to me, and what receptors does it control? I asked all the important questions. Your phone is just not for taking pictures and calling people. It's literally it's a way to address certain things. If you don't understand something, you just Google it. You know, it just answers your question, but you can ask more questions while they're there. What does this mean? Take an active role in your own self care. That's self care, taking an active role. So any medications, or how long do I have to take this, and when am I coming back to you to follow up and make sure I'm good, da da da, all of that, you're asking that, you're making notes, making sure that you're staying attentive to that, because follow up means, I'm not going to be drinking anything because I need to be clear and healing. So 2 weeks until that date, I'm going to make sure I'm following everything precisely. Um, Here's a takeaway for that for you guys. And I know I'm getting up on time, but here's the takeaway for you guys is listening to your body. Your body is always talking to you. Whether you're tired, fatigued, you're in pain, your appetite changes, even your mood shifts. Don't ignore the signals. It's telling you something that has a bigger issue. Us sitting down, if the doctor told us not to eat certain things or not to have certain things, and we do it anyway, there's a bigger issue involved. There's something bigger that we need to be concerned about, but we do it anyway, and we say the prayers over the food. God, bless the food, that the hands. We say all those prayers, and no, we ain't supposed to have it. We're not supposed to have pig feet sitting on our table. We're not supposed to have more green and not more meat in the greens. We're not supposed to have it like that, And yes, this is holiday time, and you still can enjoy yourself at holiday time, because I've been doing this, my kids would say forever, but I would say strictly for myself, 15 years. And I've never not had a great holiday, because I had to stick to what I could eat. So think about a kid. Think about a kid. If a kid, is peanut allergy, the mother is and the father looking out after that. They're not letting them have it. I don't care what holiday it is. Think of yourself, mother and father yourself. And I don't care what holiday it is. I'm not going to eat pork if I'm not supposed to have it. I'm not going to eat red meat if I'm not supposed to have it. I'm going to eat more vegetables if I'm supposed to have it. I'm not going to have milk products if I'm not supposed to have it. This is being a good steward over something, over yourself. See, stewardship is not about always money, your house, your kids, training them up. It's not all about that. It's being a good steward over you. Self care is good stewardship. We don't believe it because we don't do it. The point is, you have to like really be honest and sincere about listening to your body. Whenever, like I tell you, whenever I feel sick, whenever I feel off, whenever I feel a little dizzy, what did I eat today? Reflect on what I did. Is a feeling physical or mental. Even when I get like shoulder pains, okay, I say to myself first, what am I upset about and stressing about? Because as soon as I get stressed, this goes up here and I can't turn my neck. I'm stressing about something. What am I stressing about? And then I reflect on what it is. Start going through my list, in my head. Um, Another thing is document patterns. I knew right away that this is a season that kind of agitates my they call it cyanitis. It agitates it. So I know to take much better care. So what I didn't do is take the Flonase like I normally do every season like this when it transitions. My fault. That's a pattern that you have to pay attention to. And don't minimize your experience. My granddaughter always teasing me, oh, yeah, booby, you're so dramatic. Not when it comes to this. I want them to know how something really feels and if it's off. And and I trust my instinct about myself. So when I'm talking to the doctor, I'm talking about me. And if you're not listening, you're cut off. Listen to me, okay? Because I'm the one that feels this. So this is a message to the doctors too. Be a lot more sensitive and less book knowledge, more sensitive to the people you serve. That you take the Hippocratic oath for. Advocating is the last part is advocating for yourself. Always find the right provider. I'm joking with you, but I was very serious. I had to say I don't want to see you anymore. I had to tell doctors I don't think you're listening, taking um my best self in concern. So I want another doctor. And yes, I fire doctors that don't listen to me. If you can't repeat what I just said and have some empathy around it, I don't have time for that. Because you're reading the book in your head. And now I've become textbook and not my unique individual self. So find the right provider. My friend, Miss Fulford, told me about an amazing secret that I never knew. There are doctors who are doctors of holistic medication. They have two doctorates. One is a doctor of medicine, and the other is a doctor of a holistic medication, holistics. I think that the word was. And I now go see a doctor who has that holistic component because that's where I want in my life is some holistics. I don't want to always go to the straight to the pill, straight to an injection, and there's no solve for it. It's just long term taking medication, long term taking injections. I don't want to go through all of that. I don't want that. I want what's long term I can eat to live, or what can I do differently? And if you don't feel like if it's not an emergency, you go into the doctors, bring somebody with you or have somebody on the phone. Like when my sister is going with my mom and she may not understand something, as soon as we get in there, they get in there and start talking to the doctor. They put us all on speaker so we all have something to say and ask the right questions. So service is provided in confidence around my mom, you know. So make sure you get that help, that support. Following up is don't hesitate to reach out if the symptoms persist. Make another appointment. Something's still going on here. I need a further look in. I need you to further go and do a chest X-ray, whatever the case may be. You know. So, what did I come on here for? Just to tell you to eat to live and support and not support, but really advocate for yourself because this is the season. Seasonal times, you have to learn to eat to live. Because after the season's over, which may be 1 or 2 days, and in the case of Kwanzaa, several days, but you're not eating several days, but and Hanukkah, several days, but eat to live. Whole foods first. Stay hydrated. You don't have to drink a mad, lots of water, but hydrate. Listen to your cravings. Sometimes your cravings are your nutritional deficiencies. Um, Pay attention to them, and without overindulging. What's going on that I keep craving this one thing. You know, there's so much information around what the cravings are about. Google it. Go to Dr. Sabi's page. Go to any scientific or holistic page and find out what that is. So much information. Read a book. Your health is your greatest wealth. I'm going to say it again. Your health is your greatest wealth. If you tune into your body and listen to the signals and advocate for yourself, you're taking a powerful step towards a better quality of life. Remember, eating to live isn't about restrictions. And I've learned that the hard way, because I always thought that if I give up this, I'm going to be so restricted. Well, I was, but I'm so very cautious now, and it now fuels my body, and my body thrives because of that. So that's my schmeal, and I'm sticking to it. And I hope you all have a Merry Christmas, a Happy Kwanzaa, and let me see, what's the other one? Uh, Happy Hanukkah to everyone who is celebrating, because I know that's this time of year that everybody is with their families, those they love, and think about those who don't have anyone to love. Find somebody to love on that doesn't have anybody to love on. This is Edna White. I'm seeing you next time. Thanks so much. Talk to you real soon. And if you have a question about what I said, please feel free to put a comment in the chat box or reach out to me at ednawhite.com, www.ednawhite.com. Talk to you real soon.